is out. Poku is missed, and Toronto FC will be lifting the Voyageurs Cup.
Game back on his ball over the top. Torres is there. It's in. Romel Kyoto. CF Montreal. They win their 5th Voyageurs Cup.
And as Blackman on his right, champions again. Vancouver wins the Battle of the North. Out to the top of his box, Sirwa, but he makes a mess of it. Brian White with the gift. Vancouver emerge victorious again. They are once again the class of Canada.
Our final game tonight features last year's Cinderella story, TSS Rovers against Pacific FC. The CPL side have yet to concede a goal this season. Could we see the upset of the year? Or another blowout like the ones we saw earlier tonight as we welcome you back inside our One Soccer studio. Match Day Live continues. Eddie Petrillo, Gareth Wheeler, Jordan Wilson with you. The preliminary round continues of the 2024 TELUS Canadian Championship. We have one more game tomorrow night. That'll be Halifax Wanderers CS Saint Laurent. But right now we're going to bring you the final game of tonight. Pacific TSS Rovers. Earlier, we just saw Atletico Ottawa dismantle Valor FC. 7-0 was the final in that one. Who will go on to meet Ottawa? Forge earlier defeated York United 3-1. They were up 3-0 for the majority of that game. For the 4th time in the Can Champ, they will face CF Montreal. We know the big story around TSS Rovers is that they were the ones that made history last year, the big upset, the first semi-pro team to defeat a professional side when they defeated said Valor, who also had a disappointment here tonight. But they actually didn't qualify for this tournament out of the gate. That would have been the Victoria Highlanders out of League One BC. They had to bow out of the competition. So TSS Rovers back on in. Perhaps this is the opening that they were looking for. It's not going to be easy against Pacific.
It won't be easy, but there's some familiarity there in terms of players, personnel, and a reference point after they fell to Pacific 2-0 in the quarterfinal round last season. And it wasn't until the 67th minute where they finally scored. I think we call that a little bit of a dive, courtesy of Josh Hurd. He has no problem with that. Put the ball into the back of the net. Reed added another one about 20 minutes later to seal the deal for Pacific. But TSS Rovers were competitive in this game. And even last year in League One British Columbia, they finished 2nd place. They scored 32 goals in 14 games, 6 more than anyone else, 6 more than Unity FC. Shout out to our good buddy Lloyd, co-owner, partial owner of Unity FC, and our colleague here at One Soccer. So TSS Rovers bring back a number of the same players. They're BC boys, playing against a predominant British Columbia team in Pacific who's had success in this competition. And through 3 games of the Canadian Premier League season, Pacific have yet to concede a goal. So it should be a good matchup between these two teams tonight.
I love it because both of these teams are organized, obviously playing in different leagues. There's different expectations looking at these two sides. But TSS Rovers, they won my heart last season, Andy Petrillo. Just about the heart, the grit, the desire that they had. And as Wheels mentioned, they still have the core of this team. So I'm expecting a good match on a nice, tight pitch. They don't have to do all this big running. It's not like they're playing on a pitch that has, 15 extra yards. There's something in it for them tonight, and I hope they show up for the occasion.
Even against Pacific, as you mentioned, that's who eventually eliminated them. 2-0 was the final. Pacific didn't score against them until the 67th minute. They were in it. There was a lot of belief. And one thing we also say about, especially teams that are, lower seeded or haven't been in a competition before, it's that they haven't been there before. Maybe they're a little bit overwhelmed. They're looking at everything for the very first time. That's not the case for TSS Rovers. And I just wonder a little bit how much the experience of last year you feel can carry over to this year.
Again, there's a reference point. They played in the stadium, they played against this team, and they played against some of these same players as well. So look, they're still very early in their season. So are Pacific. James Merriman tonight for Pacific, we'll get into the 11s in a moment, has really rolled the dice. He's brought in a number of changes. I think the team is a little bit deeper than it was, especially in attacking areas. But this isn't a game that Pacific can take lightly. And again, this opens up the window to not play an MLS team in the next round. You're going to take on Atletico Ottawa. So that carrot's really being dangled for both.
Yeah, and I think when people talk about Pacific after the 3 weeks, at least this is what I'm saying, we're talking about the defensive capabilities, but you still have to go practice scoring goals and that familiarity up top. So is this the day to do it? I hope so, but if you're TSS Rovers, you feel confident maybe getting a little upset in this match.
Ooh, let's see. Let's take a look at Pacific's starting 11, because this is the team that's been getting the job done in the CPL, and they have been strong defensively as well. But we're actually going to focus on somebody up top to get things started here. How about Salouf?
He is an enigma because he's as talented as anyone in the Canadian Premier League. He ended up not starting on the weekend in Pacific's goalless draw at Cavalry after he was taken off at halftime the week before. It just being able to put in the effort defensively and from an attacking perspective. But he's a true game breaker in this team. He already has a goal on the season, big stats last season as well. He's going to be the player to watch and a player that TSS Rovers is going to have to be mindful of. I think you got to be a little bit physical with him. Don't give him any space because he's just so tactically and technically strong. They just can't give him room to operate.
Look, Pacific have had superstars in the past. One, Marco Bustos. I think Salouf is right up there in terms of potential, but he just needs to be on his P's and Q's to really perform. Sergio Toussaint, when we both played at York United in 2022, I told him he'll get back to a semifinal. I think this player, his ceiling is very high, and I think that now could be the time for him in the Canadian Championship to really go far, especially how the bracket or the bracketology is set up for them, Gareth Wheeler.
Yep.
But tonight is a huge night. I thought this weekend he was exceptional against Calvary, and he just needs to have another performance to keep being that big dog in the middle.
He was part of the CPL Team of the Week, and what I liked about that, Andy, is he didn't start either one of the first 2 games of the season, but he came in at halftime in that game against Valor when it was goalless, and he, along with Hurd and Dada Luke, completely changed the complexity of that game for Pacific. And now he's in a position, he's like, I get it, Stephen Yates, there's Bahus, there's Lamoth, there's a lot of other players that can compete for that position. Toussaint is good enough to make that position his own as a perfect player to play alongside Sean Young.
When you have it, you can't lose it. You got it back, you can't lose that spot now.
And this is a team as well that even a couple years ago, they felt that their path was pretty clear to the final as well. It didn't end up that way for them. They were eliminated. This is a team that we know has been the only team to interrupt Forge in winning the CPL title. They want to get back to that kind of glory.
They do. That's why, I'm not sure if you were expecting this many changes from James Merriman tonight. Endom and Thomas Meyer-Jaguar, 2 really good defensive players, are both out. Meyer-Jaguar's on the bench. And Rion Mora, I think he's been very, very good leading the line tonight. So a little bit of a different looking side tonight for James Merriman, and one he's going to have high hopes for.
All right, well, let's welcome James Merriman now to the show, head coach of Pacific FC. James, we're just discussing some of the changes that you've made in your squad here tonight, 5 changes. What was the thinking behind that?
Number 13 from Mississauga, Ontario.
Yeah, I think most importantly, we believe in our squad. We believe in our depth. It's been incredibly competitive in training all throughout preseason. Guys are fighting and waiting for an opportunity. Guys like Adonijah Reed, who finished the season really strong for us last year, picked up a little injury at the beginning of preseason. I think really important opportunity for him. He's been excellent in training. Same thing with Andre. He's come new to the team. It's been difficult to get him into games. So the changes are deserved in terms of we want to give these guys an opportunity and responsibility, an important game for us.
It is important. We're looking forward to it. Appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
We'll let James Merriman get back to work. He's got a game to coach.
I was waiting for it.
Okay,
the headset goes on, it doesn't move.
Go ahead,
You are so obsessed with the coach's hair.
I'm jealous of what I...
Can you do a power ranking on the hair? Maybe that. TSS Rovers starting 11. That's what we want to take a look at. And for many people who watched last year, you'll know that number 10. Matteo Polisi, that is the name that stands out. That is the one who... The player who scored a couple goals. It was the 3-1 win over Valor. He was a star in that game, Wheels, with his 2 goals.
He is the policing connection to the Canadian Premier League, obviously. It's not just him in this team as well. His face is the ones that you'll see on all the posters commemorating that night. I mean, the celebrations with the TSS Rovers fans here in the stands, they're brilliant memories, brilliant video that will last for ages when it comes to the Voyageurs Cup. But it's not just him. Spachenko, McMillan leading the line, Zohar, Jones, all these players started that game last season, and all of them will be back in. But Polisi certainly is the main man and will be relied upon heavily here tonight.
I think it's really the CPL experience that separates him, right? Like knowing that the competition that he's about to play, his brother played in the league as well, or plays in the league. Plays in the league as well, and he's just that guy. You saw it last season, and I'll never get that image out of that 3rd goal where he's basically with the fans, and I think there was a beer thrown as well. Like, he was really enjoying that moment to basically say, I should be playing in this league. But that midfield, I look at Ali Zohar and Kyle Jones. They were exceptional over those 2 games last season. Hopefully, they're up for it tonight as well.
Well, let's welcome in their head coach of the show now, Brendan Teeling. What does it mean, Brendan, for TSS Rovers to be back in this competition?
Hi, folks. Yeah, it's a privilege to be in this, competition. Everyone knows what happened last year, so we're just hoping that we can repeat it this year.
Well, and we're going to keep talking about what happened last year, and given the victory over Valor, given that you gave Pacific a very hard time, do you think TSS Rovers, they're the poster team of you cannot take any team for granted in the Canadian Championship?
Yeah, I think I caught the end of what you're just saying about some of our players in terms of Ali Zohar, Kyle Jones, Matteo Polisi. I think their quality showed last year, and I'm hoping that tonight they can again show why they probably should be playing in the CPL, and hopefully they can, get something out of this game.
It's a great showcase for them. Brendan, enjoy the moment for yourself as well. Appreciate you taking the time.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much. Cheers.
They have to be buoyed by the confidence as well. Yeah, well, Will Cromack, by the way, we're going to be hearing from him. He obviously was quite the boisterous head coach for TSS Rovers last year. Brendan Teeling seems equally as stoked, by the way.
He's happy
to be coaching this team.
But also, they're confident in this core group of players that have carried over and proved that they can play against some of these British Columbia-based Canadian Premier League players. He said it, players like Jones and Zohar, they believe that they can play at that level. So I think they're going into tonight's game expecting to come away with something here. I just don't think that this is a free pass. And look, Merriman likes his depth, and he has lots of reason to do so, but some of this depth is not established in the team yet. This TSS Rovers team seems a little bit more consistent. So let's see how it plays out. It's going to be wild.
Well, if you forgot or maybe missed what happened last year, we're going to recap it for you because we keep talking about it, but why don't we actually show you, relive the highlights of what TSS Rovers was able to do last year and hear from their then head coach, Will Cromack.
Toyota's electrified vehicles are for everyone. Every chauffeur, snack connoisseur, every scenery soaker, practical joker, every road tripper, toe dipper, every 9-to-5er, every long driver. Starting over 20 years ago with the Prius, we now have the largest lineup of electrified vehicles in Canada because this journey belongs to everyone.
Life's better with extra space. Space for family. Space for memories. Space for you. Try 4 weeks free. Sentinel Storage, proud partner of Canada Soccer.
To play. It's something that's in us from the very beginning, and something we take with us on every step of the journey. When we have no words, it gives us a way to speak. When we are still finding our way in the world, it gives us somewhere to belong. And no matter who we are or where we come from, it gives us the right to dream.
Christine Sinclair as she scores at her 5th World Cup. Alfonso Davies!
It's time to celebrate the game we love. It's time to play.
Swan Guard Stadium. It hosts the TSS Rovers as they try and make the cup set against one of the most informed teams in the early Canadian Premier League season, Valor of Winnipeg.
We have some lethal guys on our team. What they did off the ball was incredible, but they knew they were going to get their chances, and they're the type of guys that can take them.
Millen chasing contact on Edwardson as well, but it falls for Polisi! For TSS Rovers! It is the semi-professional side from League One BC who lead in the Canadian Championship.
It takes fight, it takes suffering, how much running we want to do, and we wanted to do that. We wanted to work hard, we wanted to suffer, and we wanted to win.
It's a lead pass to the back stick, it sits down! Oh, are you kidding me? The posted in Mahia! It's magic at Swan Guard! TSS Rovers have broken the match wide open! There's a cup set on the cards tonight!
Attack with the ball, attack without. You know, that's who we are. We're pirates, man. We're gonna ride the sea. We're gonna go and take your loot. That's who we are. That's our culture. That's the people that we are. We wanna force the issue. We wanna make things better. We are desperate to make BC a place that has players again. We don't have them. They're here. They're waiting for their opportunity. They're getting discarded. They're not in the right place. This guy needs to be out of here. Like, he needs a job. Let's go. Like, that's what we're doing.
Front, caught in no man's land a little bit as Mejia, but he stays with it and gets around to Brienne. Leaves it for Kyle Jones! It's a third! Against all odds! TSS Rovers are cruising! The stunner, the strike, and it's in.
The best game I played with TSS for sure. It goes down in history. It will.
And they've won this tie. TSS Rovers have done the unthinkable. A magical night at Swan Guard Stadium. David versus Goliath, and David prevails.
Last year was special, and joining me now, the man who was the manager of TSS Rovers, Will Cromack, now part of the ownership group. Appreciate you taking the time, Will. What do you remember most about that night? April 19, 2023, the night that history was made.
I think I only started remembering things when you guys started interviewing us. No, I think it was an electric night for us. Swan Guard was packed. The energy was incredible. Something we hadn't felt since we were younger down at Swan Guard. It was an amazing night. I think the third goal probably was the most memorable for me as Polisi jumped into the crowd and all the boys were over there. So that's probably the biggest memory.
And that's exactly the image that's behind you. There's a bit of a story there. That is Polisi celebrating the third goal, but who painted it? How many are actually out in circulation?
Yeah, no, one of our owners, Brendan Quarry, a bit of an artist. So he took it upon himself, all the little news clips, and made a picture out of the third goal. One of our photographers had taken a brilliant image that we all just absolutely loved, and he turned it into a photo. That's number 3. We just presented Mateo himself as one at our opening party for the season, and there was only 100 in offering. So yeah, it was pretty cool to receive that in the mail.
All right, so that's a hot commodity you have right behind you there. I'm curious to know, because obviously we're talking about it this year, it's a year after, and I'm sure we're going to be talking about it for years to come. A League One side defeating a CPL side, semi-pro team defeating a pro team. I'm curious to know, did any other League One teams actually reach out to you guys? Did they ever say anything about just how inspirational that was?
Yeah, I think, the story, I was saying earlier today, one of the things that's good about being successful is it creates people who don't like you, and it creates people who are proud of you. But what it doesn't leave room for is apathy. And that's one of the things in Canadian soccer that we're desperately trying to remove is people who care about their club and what they're up to. We had loads of people. I mean, particularly since we're supporter owned, more and more people bought a share, got involved, found a way that they could take part in the pyramid, if you will. And so I mean, all over from FIFA all the way down. It was an incredible couple of weeks there after we played those two games.
Well, and what was special, too, is that you went on to face Pacific, and even though that's where you bowed out, you didn't go down easily because you didn't allow the first goal until the 67th minute. What do you think made that team so special?
You start to get a little bit of belief. I mean, I think after the first goal in our inaugural game there against Valor, the guys kind of looked at each other and went, whoa, we did that. And when you get a little bit of belief, team sport's interesting. It's not. It can happen in one night. It doesn't mean you're going to win a 7-game series or anything like that. But in one night, things can start to change. But once you get the belief, and we had that first win, we took it kind of one step at a time, if you will, 5-minute, 10-minute increments. So the guys just started to believe, and I actually still to this moment believe that there are at least 5 or 6 guys on that team that still deserve a shot and can play at that level. And I hope they show it tonight.
We've been waxing poetic about the importance of the national title and also what these types of matchups mean, whether you face a CPL side, whether you face an MLS side. I'm curious to know your reaction as well to MLS announcing that not all their teams would be participating in their U.S. Open Cup. And were you worried that the Canadian MLS teams might follow suit? We know they're not, but how important was it for them to just show the respect that this national title deserves, and even for clubs like TSS Rovers?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's critical. And secondly, we have to be Canadian, not American. Despite MLS teams being in an American league, they are Canadian. And I think it's vitally important that we have a pyramid that resembles more of the world than start creating these bit piece areas that don't connect at all. And the Canadian Championships is the thing it's the tie that binds. It's the one piece that Canada Soccer owns outright to control and manage and grow. So I was super proud that the MLS teams both supported all of these League One teams, starting to add some, finance capital to help out, as well as saying, no, this is vital for our guys to be in this competition.
It's so special. And are we going to see another historic moment tonight?
I wouldn't put it past these boys. They have been with us, many of them, since we were minivanning it all the way up and down the coast. The guy behind me, he's there again, just came back from Greece, spending, buses, planes, trains, and automobiles. So I wouldn't put it past them. Mm-hmm. Are the boys going to walk in there thinking they're the reincarnation of Juvinco TFC? I don't think so. But what they are going to do is they are going to compete. And we know that after years of training them and being with them, they're going to compete, and they're going to make it difficult. And you never know.
We look forward to it. Thanks so much, Will.
No problem. Thanks a lot for having us.
Would you like the extended warranty for $150?
Go ad-free for $29.99.
Only 3 easy payments of $49.99 if you act now.
We make thousands of financial decisions every day. Each one affects bigger decisions tomorrow. Stay on top of it all with the CIBC Smart Account.
Do we really have any choice at all? Everyone has a choice, and every choice has a consequence.
Which do you choose?
Life's full of tough choices, isn't it?
How do you choose?
Life's better with extra space. Space for family. Space for memories. Space for you. Try 4 weeks free. Sentinel Storage, proud partner of Canada Soccer.
Gatorade. With electrolytes to help replenish what's lost in sweat. Carbs to help fuel your working muscles. And fluids to help you hydrate. Scientifically formulated so you never stop competing. Rehydrate, replenish, refuel. Gatorade.
How do you go from the best to the ultimate without breaking the bank? You choose the big, bold, ultimate taste of ultimate chicken sausages and hot dogs. Choose ultimate taste and value, only from Maple Lodge Farms.
Getting set for kickoff between Pacific. Just put up an umbrella, a lawn
I'm guessing
chair.
it's somewhere close to Langford,
Yeah.
British Columbia. That's how it was fonted on the screen.
Thanks, Tips. Okay. Anyways, what kind of game are we expecting here tonight? I'm going to send you over there with no boat to return
Sending
you.
him to Langford?
I'm expecting a tightly contested game. Like, Pacific have reshaped themselves as a pragmatic, very clean defensive team as well. They're going to be difficult to break down. They've yet to concede a goal in the season. And with different makers like Reed and Saloof in attack, I look Pacific to win this, but I think it's going to be close.
Yeah, and I agree with Wheels. It took 67 minutes last year for Pacific to really, kind of breathe easily, and that was with the 1-0 goal by Josh Hurd. But TSS Rovers, man, they've been here before. This could be the time where they could maybe go into the second half 0-0 and maybe take it to them. So this will be a good game.
They're going to believe.
Let's
As they
find
should.
out.
Believe, Andy.
First 45 is coming up. We have TSS Rovers taking on Pacific FC, the home side. Not going to be easy to beat. Undefeated, yet to concede a goal. They're feeling pretty good about themselves with TSS Rovers fans. They know how to travel. That's what's next on Matchday Live on One Soccer.
The TELUS Canadian Championship on One Soccer is brought to you by Toyota.
Toyota's electrified vehicles are for everyone. Every chauffeur, snack connoisseur,